Welcome to Park Yoga Shorts. My name's Naomi Seeger and I'm going to be sharing a short practice with you today to help free up your hips, your spine and your shoulders. So when we practice yoga in the outside, if we're lucky enough for the weather to be warm enough and we can feel the sun on our faces and maybe the sounds of the birds and the soft breeze and just be in and around the abundance of nature, that can make a huge difference, a huge positive difference to our health and well-being. And Park Yoga is a charity that aims to bring all these benefits to people. So maybe you're watching this because you can't get to your local Park Yoga session in your local park, or maybe it's been cancelled because the weather's not so great, and maybe you're doing this from the comfort of your own home. So wherever you are and whyever you're here, I'm thrilled that you're joining me for this, and we'll get started straight away. We're going to be looking at a whole load of variations around cat-cow, and this is all about articulation through the spine. So we are going to be spending a bit of time bearing weight on the hands and through the wrists. So if that's a struggle for you, you might like to come up to your fists to make that a little bit more comfortable. You could also maybe be on fingertips. Another variation that might make life a little bit easier, some of these you can do quite nicely on your elbows and knees as well. So don't hesitate to choose any of those variations if you find your wrists start to get a little bit tired. Similarly with your knees, you can always put a blanket or a pillow or a cushion underneath your knees if you want to. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, spread your fingers and just press your fingertips down into the ground a little bit. That'll just help open up the top of the hand and the front of the wrist. Just means you won't be taking all that weight down through the joints. Your knees are directly underneath your hips and hip width apart. To start with, just let your chest sink. So you just kind of drop your chest, keep your arms straight. You can let your head hang to begin with. And then imagine you've got a tail and swing your imaginary tail up towards the spine. And you might feel your spine to get a little bit longer. You might feel how the distance between your armpits and your hips begins to lengthen. And you can lift your head just slightly so you're looking at the floor a little bit ahead of your hands. Now, because we're going to be doing a lot of these today, don't be tempted to lift your head too high. You don't want loads of compression in the back of the neck, so that's going to give you a stiff neck. So just look forward a little bit. This is the cow bit. Now we're coming to the cat bit. So press your fingertips down, swing your imaginary tail between the legs, press into the hands and bring your chin in. Press the back of your heart towards the sky. Feel your shoulder blades broadening off your back and lift your navel up towards your spine. And we're just going to coordinate those two movements with the breath. So if you exhale to prepare, and then inhale, drop your chest, swing your swing your tail towards the sky, slide your shoulder blades towards each other as you look forward a little bit. And then exhale, swing your imaginary tail between your legs, press into your hands, press the back of your heart up and draw your belly up. So with the breath, inhale to bring yourself into spinal extension. And exhale to bring yourself into spinal flexion. Let's just do two more of those. Trying to perfectly coordinate movement and breath. And then inhale to a neutral position. So that's our standard, and we're going to come back to that a couple of times to see how things might have changed. Now bring your left hand directly in front of your right hand, and you'll notice that will shift your weight back into your knees a little bit. It will take some of the pressure off of your wrists. Exactly the same thing. Drop your chest, try and slide your shoulder blades together a little bit behind you. Swing your imaginary tail up towards the ceiling. Head might lift a little bit, not too much. And then exhale, swing your tail between your legs. And you can actually press down into the heel of that right hand a little bit more. That will help you open up your left side body. Inhale to drop your spine, forward a little. Exhale to round, press into that right hand, just to get in a bit deeper. 3 more. Same thing. Drop your chest, swing your tail up, look forward a little bit on the inhalation. Exhale, round your back, press into the heel of that left hand and maybe feel your side body on the right side open a bit more. Inhale into the cow bit of the practice. Exhale into the cat bit of the practice. Don't lift your head too high. Just noticed myself doing that a little bit. Just lift your head a little bit here. You don't get tight. You don't want to get tight through the back of the neck. Just one more. And then inhale to a neutral position. First side again. So go back to all fours. Left hand in front of your right hand. Now you're going to lift your feet up and then you're going to pivot on your knees. You're just going to swing your feet as far to the right as is comfortable and bring them down. Remember, if you're fed up of being on your wrists, you can come up to fists here or fingertips if that works for you. You could come to elbows. We're going to be doing a variation similar to that shortly, but just adapt and modify as you need to so that you're comfortable. So now feet are going to the right, left hand is in front of your right hand. Inhale, drop your chest, swing your tail towards the ceiling, look forward a little. Now exhale, come into the cat's bit. Swing your tail between your legs, press into your left hand. Feel all the feels in that left side body. Inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. And obviously just notice how this feels in your right side compared to your left side. One more. And then inhale to a neutral position. From here, slide your hips back a little bit and come to your right elbow. And if you wanted to make it a little bit stronger, you could come to the fingertips of your left hand. You could also step your knees back a little bit. Both those things will just give you a bit more space and a bit more room to get in a little bit deeper. It might be that you don't want to take your knees back and you've just got your right elbow bent a little bit. So wherever you are with this, drop your chest, swing your imaginary tail towards the ceiling. Remember, your feet are still going off to the right side. And then exhale, swing your tail between your legs and bring your chin in a little bit. So it's exactly the same thing. Articulating through the spine. Moving with the breath from spinal extension into spinal flexion. You might notice you have perhaps a little bit less movement and range here as we're in a little bit deeper. Now inhale to a neutral position and just come to elbows and knees. Neutral symmetrical position here. Interlock your fingers. Maybe have your knees back behind your hips a little bit, elbows slightly forward of your shoulders. Drop your chest, drop your head. Swing your imaginary tail up towards the ceiling. Let your spine hang like a hammock between your hips and your shoulders. And just take a moment to pause, breathe, and feel. Notice how your left side feels different to your right side. Or just notice if there is a difference. And it might be a huge difference, it might be a marginal difference, it might be no difference at all as far as you can tell. There's no specific experience you're trying to have. You just want to notice whatever experience you are having. That brings us more into the present moment, more aware of ourselves and our surroundings and our connection to those surroundings. And come up to hands and knees, a little helper, and we'll do both those variations on the other side. So bring your right hand in front of your left hand. Pick up your feet and then pivot through the knees. take your feet over to the left and bring them down. Inhale, drop your chest, look forward a little bit, swing your imaginary tail towards the sky. Exhale, chin in, tail between the legs, press into that left hand a little bit, so just open things a bit more if you want to. Inhale and exhale. Careful not to lift the head too high. So as you do this, you want to notice the inhalation, the pause at the top of the breath, the exhalation, the pause at the base of the breath. One more. Careful not to lift your head too high. And then inhale to neutral. Now come down to that left elbow, maybe up to the right fingertips, if you wanted to. Inhale, drop your chest. Oh, remember, I forgot there. If you want to make it slightly stronger still, you could take the knees back a little bit. Inhale, swing the tail up and drop your chest. Exhale, swing the tail through and bring your chin in. And you just want to notice your breathing and then all the sensations that present in your body. What are you feeling? And where are you feeling? One more. Inhale to neutral. Make your way back up to hands and knees, and then come to elbows and knees. Interlock your fingers, knees slightly behind your hips, elbows slightly forward over your shoulders. Drop your head, drop your chest. Swing your tail towards the ceiling. Pause, breathe, and feel. And just notice whatever it is that you notice. And then come back up, hands and knees. Last little bit where we focus mostly on the shoulders. So hands and knees again. This time bring your hands a hand's length forward. If it's comfortable for you, come up to fingertips. You want to have your hands as wide as your shoulders, maybe a little bit wider. You can be on flat hands or fingertips, or you could even come to fists if that works better for you. It's a little bit awkward like that, but it might work for you guys. Now just slide your shoulder blades onto your back, keeping it out of your neck. Swing your imaginary tail up towards the ceiling and start to take your hips back. So you want to go back until your arms are at kind of like a 45-degree angle, more or less, to the ground. Swing your tail towards the ceiling, press your fingertips down, lift and broaden your armpits, and then drop your chest. Think about lifting and broadening through your armpits as you swing the tail up and back. In fact, you can imagine someone's got hold of your tail and they're pulling you up and back. And then into all of that, you just drop your chest and release downwards. If it's comfortable and you want to rest your head on the ground, you can. And then just settle to your breath again. Just inhale, pause, and exhale. Pause. Couple more breaths in. Now inhale to come up. Exhale, place your hands. I'm going to move to hips now. So you're going to cross your knees. So move both knees over to the left side of your mat. And then cross your left knee behind your right knee. Let's get back on my mat. And then separate your feet as wide as is comfortable. Everything's just the same. You could be on elbows here if you don't want to be on your wrists too much. Drop your chest, swing your tail towards the ceiling, Look forward a little bit. Now squeeze your legs towards each other. As you do, kind of squeezing the thighs in towards each other. As you exhale, swing your tail between your legs and press into your hands and lift your belly. Inhale to drop the spine, swing your tail up, shoulder blades move towards each other. Exhale to round your spine as you squeeze the legs together and lift the belly. 3 more. Last one. Don't lift the head too high. Keep catching myself doing that. Inhale to neutral position and then uncross your legs. Walk your knees over to the right side and then cross your right knee behind your left knee. Separate your feet. Same thing. Try exhaling to prepare and then inhale, drop the chest, come into the cow variation, swing your tail towards the ceiling. Exhale, round your back, sliding your shoulder blades away from your spine, squeezing the legs and lifting the belly. A few more of these. This, by the way, can be a really effective little practice if you suffer from sciatica at all. That's when you kind of get some pain sometimes in your back or your hip, and it refers down through the outside of your leg. So if you're prone to that, you could maybe give this a whirl. Okay, 2 more, I think. Last one. Okay, inhale to a neutral position and uncross your legs again. This time, you're going to take your left leg straight off out to the side. Now I'm going to turn around on my mat just so that you can kind of see what's going on a bit better here. But you don't need to do this when you're at home. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. I'm kind of almost in the flower bed here. Take your left leg off out straight. And then you can either turn the toes of your left foot off out to the side, or if it feels more comfortable, have the toes pointing forward, whichever works for you. I kind of like toes pointing forward because you can just work into the hip a bit better. Same thing. Inhale, swing your tail towards the ceiling, shoulder blades on the back, look forward a little. Exhale, swing the tail through and press into your hands. And as you work here, notice how the top of that left thigh bone moves around in your pelvis. Let's do 1 more here. Now inhale to neutral. This is where we change things up a bit. Bring your right hand to the front of your right thigh and then straight off to the right, probably sort of about 18 inches, a foot, something like that. And then come up and bring your left hand to your hip. Now this is where this left foot, if you want to, you can turn the toes off out to the left if you want to do that. If the ground feels really far away, you could put a book or a folded blanket, or I wouldn't use a cushion because it's a bit soft, but ideally a yoga block if you've got one, but something underneath that right hand just to give you a little bit of lift. So get yourself nice and steady here, and then you're going to bring the left hand to the back of your head. And actually, even in this position, we're going to do some cat-cow variations. So you're going to inhale and lift your chest. Look up a little bit and press your left elbow back. At the same time, can you swing your tail up and back behind you? So even in this weird asymmetric place, you're finding a bit of spinal extension. Now exhale, swing your tail between your legs, bring your elbow forward and down, and reach that elbow towards the space under your armpit. So you're going to inhale to come up and open into spinal extension, and exhale to come through into spinal flexion. Let's do 3 more of those. Now, as you come into the open variation of this, it's really tempting to swing your hips forward. So make sure you're trying to swing your tail behind you as you lift the chest and press that left elbow back. Then as you round, you can swing your tail between your legs. Last one. and go through. Now this time when you come up, pause here, lift your chest, swing your tail up and back and press that left elbow back. Also your right shoulder, try and roll your right shoulder back a little bit. Now before we go any further here, imagine you're wearing a super wide belt and you're going to cinch in all directions, and you might feel that left leg grow a little bit longer when you do that. Now reach through that top arm. Arm is parallel to the side of the head, not too close. From your left hip, reach down through your toes into the ground, and then also from your left hip, reach up out through the left side of the rib cage, spread your fingers and reach. And your head and neck can be wherever is most comfortable for you. Couple of breaths here. And then to dismount, you're just going to soften that left arm down as you drop the hips back. Come back to hands and knees, and actually come back to elbows and knees. Drop your head, drop your chest, let your spine hang, let your head hang. Again, draw that imaginary line down the centre of the body. Just let your conscious awareness scan out to everything to the left side. Just notice how the left side of the body feels in terms of spaciousness, openness. And now scan your conscious awareness to everything to the right side of your spine. And just notice if there's any difference. And just register and acknowledge that. And then back up to hands and knees. We're going to do those couple of things on the other side. I can get my feet into the forget-me-nots. Take your right leg straight off out to the side. Toes point forward if that's comfortable for you. Left hip over your left knee. Left hand in line with that left knee. Inhale, swing your tail up. Drop your chest, shoulder blades towards each other, look forward a little bit. I didn't say this on the other side, but you might feel a bit of a stretch through the inside of this leg. And then exhale, round the back. Inhale and exhale. Just notice how the top of that right thigh bone moves around in your hip joint. And then inhale to neutral. This left hand comes back to your left knee and then straight off out to the left in line with that knee, probably about 1.5 feet. And then you're going to bring your right hand up to your hip. Turn the toes of your right foot out if that's available to you. And then bring this right hand to the back of the head. Swing your tail up behind you, lift the chest, take both shoulders back and press your right elbow back. You might find you get a little bit of a turn here. So can you feel how your spine is lengthening and the front of the spine is opening here, just like when we were doing all that stuff on hands and knees. If this doesn't feel super comfy, put something underneath that left hand to make it a bit more accessible. And then you're going to swing your tail between your legs and then roll your upper body forward and down as you lead with that right elbow, pressing it underneath your left arm. So inhale to come up, head up, tail up, elbow back. Exhale to round. Inhale to lift and open. Exhale to round and flex. 2 more. Now come up one last time. Tail up, chest up. Press your elbow back. Now breathe in to prepare. And as you exhale, imagine you're wearing that really wide belt and draw in through the core in all directions. Maybe feel your right leg get longer and you can just float that right arm out parallel to the right side of the head. From your right hip, reach down through into your toes and then up through the rib cage and out through your fingers. It's like the energy splits in your hip and grounds you and releases you at the same time. Head and neck wherever's most comfortable for you. Make sure your left shoulder is rolling back. Couple of breaths here. And then to come out of it, just turn to look at your left hand. Let that right arm come through and down. Come back to elbows and knees. Drop your chest, drop your head. Pause, breathe, and feel for a moment. If you just really let the weight of your head drop, you might feel a nice little bit of traction through your neck. And we've asked the neck actually to do quite a bit of work in this. So just let your head hang really heavy, like imagine it's kind of like a bowling ball or a watermelon or something. Just see if you can feel that little bit of lengthening through the back of the neck. And then make your way onto your backs. Either have your feet a bit wider than your hips and just let your knees drop together, or if it's comfortable for you, you can take the legs out straight. Just let your toes fall away from the midline, arms a little bit away from the body, palms face up. A little bit of length through the back of the neck. And just pause, breathe, and feel. Notice whatever it is that you notice. Just hold the space for yourself. Welcome and embrace your own felt sense of aliveness. You have a few breaths here. Just notice where your body touches the ground. And then notice maybe the touch of your toes, the touch of the air on your face, maybe the palms of your hands. And then you can start to move, bending your knees, bringing your feet flat to the floor. We just finished with a few little figure of eights. So this is where you just step the hips one after the other away from your ribcage. It's just like you're softly walking your hips away from you. Let your hips swing a little bit from side to side. Let your whole body go soft and floppy so that you feel the movement from your pelvis ripple up your spine. You can feel it in your shoulders and your arms and your neck. Just letting all those dots join back up together. And then come over onto your side, push up on your hands, and come to sit. That is the end of this short practice. Thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully you'll be able to make it out to a park yoga session in the outdoors in the not too distant future. In the meantime, know that these park yoga shorts are available for you to view on Sunday mornings if that's a reasonable, or that's a good alternative for you. Thank you very much.